Hey, what's going on? Today, we're talking about Rocket League's brand new update 2.56. And this one is a pretty big deal because it's tied directly into Season 20, which is already bringing some really interesting changes to the way the game feels and plays. Now, I know updates in Rocket League can sometimes be small little balance tweaks, bug fixes, or just cosmetic additions, but this one actually does more than that. It's reshaping how progression works, how competitive access feels for new players, and even introducing a whole new way to experience one of the oldest formats in the game with 4v4 making its comeback in a major way. So, if you've been waiting for a reason to jump back in, or maybe you're brand new and thinking about giving Rocket League a shot, there's a ton here to talk about. First off, let's break down what actually stands out with this update. Season 20 officially kicks off with the patch, which means we're getting new content, new cosmetics, new cars, and new arenas. But at the same time, the developers decided to touch some of the core systems that we've all gotten used to over the years. One of the biggest talking points has to be the reintroduction of 4v4 as an actual supported playlist. Now, if you've been playing Rocket League for a while, you'll remember that 4v4 was always around in a casual sense, but it never had the same love as the traditional 3v3, 2v2, or even 1v1 competitive ladders. This update changes that. Not only is 4v4 back, but it's getting a competitive playlist of its own, which means it's no longer just a fun, chaotic mode for a quick laugh. It's something that people can actually take seriously, grind ranks in, and master. The developers didn't just flip a switch and bring 4v4 back, though. They've retooled the arenas specifically for it. That means bigger arenas, different boost pad layouts, and a stronger sense of balance so that it doesn't just feel like a crowded mess. If you've ever played 4v4 in its old state, you know how it could get out of hand. Everybody chasing the ball, boost starvation being a constant issue, and not much strategy outside of pure chaos. With the new setup, 4v4 is supposed to feel like a legitimate alternative mode, not just the extra that sits in the casual tab. I think this is going to be pretty big for community play because a lot of groups of friends are 4 deep and don't want to leave someone out when queuing up for a competitive grind. Now you can all play together without having to rotate someone out, and you can still chase ranks at the same time. That's a really smart move. Another huge area of focus in Update 2.56 is progression. The way Rocket League has always handled leveling up and Rocket Pass challenges has been a bit controversial. Some players felt like progression was too slow, some thought challenges being locked behind premium tiers felt unfair, and others simply didn't feel rewarded enough for the time they were putting in. With this update, the system's getting overhauled. The first big change is that all challenges now grant XP, not just Rocket Pass progression. That means no matter what you're doing, you're going to feel like you're working towards something. On top of that, challenges are no longer locked to premium status. Before, if you didn't buy the Rocket Pass, there were entire sets of challenges you simply couldn't access. That's gone now. Everyone gets access to all challenges, so progression feels more unified and nobody's stuck on the outside looking in. What's really nice too is that XP gains across the board are faster. The grind has been shortened, and you can even earn XP in private matches now, which is something players have been asking about for ages. If you just want to mess around with friends without worrying about public lobbies, you can still work toward your rewards and levels. That's a quality of life change that a lot of casual and competitive players alike are going to appreciate. Rocket League has always been about accessibility, and making the grind feel smoother without stripping the game of its replay value is a smart balance. Now let's talk about competitive access, because this is another area that got a shakeup in this update. Previously, in order to jump into competitive playlists, new players had to hit a certain player level, which meant you could grind some casual matches, hit level 20, and then suddenly you're allowed into competitive. The problem with that was it didn't really prepare anyone for what competitive actually feels like. You had a bunch of people who didn't fully understand the fundamentals of the game suddenly being thrown into ranked matches, and of course that led to some frustrations for both the new players and the experienced players who had to deal with it. In Update 2.56, instead of just requiring a level, the game now has a set of new driver challenges that players have to complete before they can access competitive. This is a much better idea because it forces you to actually engage with mechanics, complete objectives, and prove that you understand the basics before you're let into the ranked ecosystem. On top of that, it's designed to cut down on smurfing. If you've been around Rocket League for a while, you know smurfs have been a persistent problem. Experienced players making new accounts and wrecking lower level lobbies just for fun. By tying competitive access to specific challenges rather than just level grinding, it's harder for smurfs to instantly make a new account and jump into ranked. That should make matchmaking fairer overall. Of course, with a new season comes new content, and Season 20 isn't holding back on that front. One of the coolest additions is the new arena called Boostfield Mall. The aesthetic of this one is really different from a lot of past arenas, giving players a fresh vibe while keeping the same general playability that makes Rocket League arenas so consistent. The Rocket Pass Premium rewards this season are also worth highlighting. Early on in the pass, players can unlock the Pontiac Firebird, which uses the Breakout hitbox, and further down the line, there's the Chevrolet Astro, which runs on the Merc hitbox. These aren't just random cars, they're real nods to automotive culture. And Rocket League has always done a great job tying in licensed vehicles that still fit the style of the game. Along with the cars, you'll see the usual flow of new wheels, decals, goal explosions, and boosts that give every player some personalization options to chase. One of the standout goal explosions this season is called Snake Score, and it's got a very unique look that's going to make scoring even more satisfying. Something else that stands out is the crossover content. This time around, we're seeing Sonic the Hedgehog themed items added into the mix. Think about that for a second. You've got Sonic Looper wheels, a Sonic side-scroller banner, and more that tie directly into Sega's iconic mascot. Rocket League has always leaned into fun collaborations, whether it's with movies, other games, or car brands. And this one is a nice surprise for fans of Sonic. It just adds a playful layer to the game and makes the season feel more fresh and exciting. Tournaments are also refreshed with this update, meaning the rewards you earn from playing in them have been rotated. That includes new decals, wheels, boosts, and goal explosions you can only get through the tournament system. So, if you're a player who likes chasing exclusive cosmetics, Season 20 is giving you more incentive to keep competing. And because the XP changes now apply across different modes, you're not sacrificing progression by spending time in tournaments. So overall, Update 256 isn't just a little patch, it's a big milestone in how Rocket League is trying to keep the experience fresh for longtime players while making sure newcomers feel welcomed and properly prepared. The balance of competitive fairness, smoother progression, and more content to grind for makes this one of the more significant updates we've seen in a while. It really feels like Rocket League is still finding new ways to reinvent itself, even after all these years. Now, here's the thing. Because this update touches so many different areas of the game, it's going to have ripple effects on the community. 4v4 becoming a ranked mode means you'll see people trying to form meta strategies around it, and I wouldn't be surprised if content creators start making guides and highlight reels just around that mode alone. The progression overhaul is going to change how fast people move through the Rocket Pass, so expect to see more people showing off cosmetics earlier in the season. And the competitive access challenge system might finally ease some of the complaints about low-level smurfs and unfair matchups. All of these things tie together to make Season 20 feel like a reset button in the best possible way. If you're someone who took a break from Rocket League, this update is worth reinstalling the game for. And if you're already active, you've got plenty of new goals to chase. Whether it's unlocking the new cars, trying out the Sonic crossover gear, ranking up in the new 4v4 playlist, or just enjoying smoother progression, there's no shortage of things to keep you entertained. The developers clearly listened to the community on a lot of these changes, and it shows.